Dustin Glover once again. I am from Accra, Ghana. I live in Accra, Ghana. I am an event designer. I'm into event design and venue transformation and destination wedding planning. We have been operating for officially about 7 years from Accra, Ghana. By the grace of God, we have got to work in really interesting locations. We've worked in different cities across Ghana. We've done a few events outside the country as well, and we just keep getting bigger and stronger now.
Nice.
I was so excited at the same time, a bit worried and pressured when I got the topic I was supposed to work on the power of creativity, and at the same time, I think it was really good for me. I like the fact that you brought it towards me earlier today when I was thinking about how everything is going to go today and what everybody's going to be saying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Can hear
Okay,
you.
fantastic. Am I speaking too fast?
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's
Okay, it's
fine.
okay. All right. So early on, I was just thinking through how the day was going to go, and I was just having memories of how far I have come. I remember a couple of years ago when it was a struggle to even get vendors to work with you, even to get when you go to a venue to try to make a booking or make inquiries. It's like they don't know your name, or they don't know who you are, and they just ignore you. They don't give you they don't give you priority service. But now you have people and other vendors rushing and eager to work with you, and they just want that kind of brand association. And I mean, it was just great to look back and just realize how far we have come. And I can say that is mostly due to a decision that I took a couple of years ago, a very creative decision, a decision based purely on creativity. Okay. Now, when you say creativity, it's basically creating ideas, creating something new, using your imagination to create content. Okay. And as event people, we are always challenged to create original content for people all the time. Listen, there are times where you have three brides, four brides in a row who all want the same thing, probably even using the same venue. Their ideas are similar, and yet each of them wants theirs to be beautiful and nice and different. And you're asking, listen, you're thinking, it's the same elements we are using, it's the same venue. We always have that challenge from time to time where we are limited by ideas, but then how you come out and create something different, create original content is what sets you apart all the time. Okay, now creativity cannot be measured. There's no limit when it comes to creativity. There are some people who go like, oh, this person is not as creative, or I'm not that creative. I think this person is more creative than this person. Well, I don't believe that really exists. It's mainly because a person has probably not explored their they're not exploring their creativity well. Creativity cannot be measured in any way at all, and creativity is expressed in different fields altogether. Okay, now you can give two people the same items, and each person will execute it differently. Each person is going to handle it differently altogether. When it comes to decor, for instance, tablescape design. Now I don't know how it works in Nigeria, but then in Ghana we have most of the most of the vendors or with the event designers rent things like furniture and crockery, rent the chairs, the tables, the table linen, the charger plates, the napkins. Even sometimes even for some people, they go ahead and rent the centerpieces. Now we all have access to the same pool of things. We know, let's say there are 10 chairs in the industry, we all have access to the same 10 chairs. There have been times when I a couple of years ago where I go online and then see a picture of something someone has done. And I think it's my setup because we use the same chairs, we use the same linen, we combine, we put the same elements together. Basically because we had access to the same things, okay. But then it got to a point where I realized that we had to do something to be different and to set ourselves apart. Okay. Now, when when you have when you have when you have what's the word when a couple when you have a client who comes up to you. So for us, every process starts with initial consultation, not necessarily when the client has officially booked us. Okay, from the very initial consultation, I start thinking about how the event is going to look like. As we talk and discuss with them, we start creating for the entire team, yes, but for myself personally, I start creating a mental picture of how everything is supposed to go. Okay, so even on the day off, without a sheet of paper, I know what exactly I'm going to do. I know what I'm going for. Okay, and all of these little things help put together what everything should look like on the day off. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is for me, my number one source of inspiration for creativity is the people we are working for. Okay, because they help define how everything is going to go, whether they want it loud and over the top, or they want the event to be very minimal, or they want it to be one of a kind. You know, there are some times when some clients come to you with concepts that you've never heard of before, and all of those things. The client is the very initial source of inspiration. They help steer us in the right direction. Okay, now after after crossing the client's bridge, the next source of inspiration to be able to create something for me is the venue. Okay, the venue we are working in. For instance, if the bride wants a winter wonderland wedding and an we have an outdoor garden space and we know the kind of things we are going for to create that kind of look. We have to find elements that will fit in beautifully. If we have an indoor space and we have to create a garden, then we know the kind of lines along which we are thinking. We know we have to probably cover the walls and cover the floor, hang a couple of things to make it look like it's a garden. Okay, we've done events before where we had a garden and wanted to create an indoor look. We had to create all of those things. So for me, the first source of inspiration is the people you're working for. Second source is the venue. Okay, and then along the line, before you before even thinking about any other thing to do, one major limit to creativity or another indirect source of inspiration is the budget. Okay, now as event vendors, from time to time, we always have people coming up to us with big dreams. We've had um, situations where brides to come and they start going like, Dustin, I want birds, flying. I want doves flying above me with butterflies at the entrance. And then they're talking about a singer from Australia and having a live band from another country. You have people with huge requests. Oh, I want fill the whole wall with orchids and all of those things. But you send your first invoice to them, and it's like the just their dream just sort of jumps from 100 to a zero, all of a sudden, and it sometimes ends up limiting our capacity and what we can do. Okay, now, there's one major thing which a lot of event vendors do not realize. Okay, you realize that from time to time you go online and you see that somebody has probably done something you've thought of, or somebody has executed a concept you're already thinking executed a concept you're already planning on, and you start feeling like the person has probably got an insider in your team and is listening to what you're doing, and you feel maybe the person is even using some spiritual means to get ideas from your head. It happens to people from time to time. But one thing people do not realize is you probably have the same source of inspiration as a person. So there was a point in time where there was a particular vendor. Anytime I keep getting concepts, I keep getting ideas, I keep putting things together. Before she gets events very often. Before I say Jack, she's already done it. I think of a concept and she's already doing it. And I keep asking myself, what is all this? So I had to just take a step back and I realized that we all draw inspiration from a particular place. Okay. So in order to differentiate myself or to be able to stand out and be different and be unique in my own way, I probably had to change my source of inspiration. Okay. Because great minds think alike. Okay. And my friend says this that anytime God gives you an idea, He doesn't give just one person, He gives different people. And anytime you see something, is not you're not the only. Anytime you see something creative or fancy or an opportunity for creativity, there's someone else also saying the same thing. So you have to be able to try and execute it in your own way without copying or necessarily doing exactly what they are doing. One problem a lot of people face copying. See, it's in I don't know how it is in Nigeria and in other countries, but in Ghana here, the whole copying business of copying people's events is intense. It's not even a joke at all. It's like somebody does something and everybody wants the same thing. Somebody brings a new chair and everybody's buying the same chair. Somebody brings a chandelier and everybody's buying the same thing. Somebody does a backdrop design and everybody wants the same thing. We did a bridal room design for a wedding that trended a lot a couple of months, about 2 months ago, and we just keep getting calls. I want the exact same bridal room. I went online yesterday and I saw that two other vendors had tried to copy exactly what I had done. I'm like, aren't you original? Like, don't you have any ideas? Like, does he really copy what I'm doing? For me, it was really exciting and humbling because I'm like, okay, for somebody to actually copy what I'm doing, then it means I'm doing a really good job. It's a sign, but it's not positive energy for a lot of people. Okay. Basically, you have to be able to identify your source of inspiration and work from there. That should always be your starting point for every event that you do. Okay. Some people draw inspiration from nature. Some people draw inspiration from architecture. Some people draw inspiration from food. Some people get ideas when they're probably shopping. I get ideas a lot when I'm in the bath around 1 a.m. It's so funny and weird. Like when I enter the shower at 1 a.m., that is when I get ideas. So I'm always in the bathroom, I'm always in the shower on my phone. I don't know when I see the water dropping. I don't know. I don't know when I see the water dropping. I start getting ideas. You Someone said shower inspo. Yeah, it happens to me a lot. I mean, I get ideas from different places. Apart from that, too, I also get ideas and inspiration from architecture when I'm walking around town or when I get to travel and I see the buildings and how they are designed and how they've there's like this sort of painting on the wall. I start getting ideas from there. So you see, you don't always have to watch people's events or see what somebody is doing to be creative or to get your own inspiration. You know how people just keep like feeding off other people. It's strange. I have a friend who gets ideas when just before she sleeps. So she says anytime she gets in bed and she's very sleepy, that's when the ideas start popping in her head. Okay. So all the time her phone is near her. As soon as the idea starts popping in her head, she calls her assistant and drowsily, whilst like kind of sleep talking, just like keeps pushing the ideas out. I have a friend, another colleague of mine who gets inspiration from food. Okay, so he sees how, when you do salads, with the way there's like different colors and textures of vegetables, he just uses those to create concepts and come out with very colorful events. I mean, there are so many different sources of inspiration. It could be interior design, it could be cars, it could be fishes, it could be anything at all. There's inspiration all around the world for us to see. Nobody has to do the same thing from time to time. And also, as I mentioned about people buying the same thing and copying what everybody's doing, I mean, we get that all the time. Now, anytime I go shopping, some time ago, when I see people do something, it's like I start going online trying to find the same things to buy. Then before I realize it's like four of us buying the same thing, everybody's using it. Now, when you use it, it's not even interesting anymore. This time around, I realized that, I have to be different. I want to do something unique. So now when I go to the shop, I'm not thinking what people have done before. I'm thinking what people have not done before. Just because I want to be unique, I want to be creative, I want to, be in my own league altogether. I want to do something different. These are the things that kind of make you for me. Um, Another thing too is as a vendor or as an event designer or as a wedding planner in the event industry, you have to know when to stop. You have to know when to stop. It's very important. Like when some people say inspiration and creativity, and I want it to look luxury and I want it to look luxurious and lush and beautiful. I mean, like I see how the Nigerians do their decor. Nigerians are able to put like 30 centerpieces on a table. I see some of the works that you guys do there. I mean, everybody's like doing, trying to do like to the maximum. But then there is a limit to it. I mean, sometimes no, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Nigerians overdo. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. Some people end up copying wrongly and end up doing it the wrong way. There's a limit. There's a limit. There's a limit to it. For instance, you start doing something, you should say today, for instance, I don't know if you remember earlier the arch that I showed you in front of this backdrop. I don't know if any of you were on the call. We had like lots of flowers around it. It was filled with flowers. Now I stood back and said, okay, well, we have lots of flowers. It looks beautiful. It looks lush. It looks full. But we really don't need it. It's too much. I don't need to put all the flowers there to show people that I have flowers so I can be very floral. You know, that everybody has to know when to stop. Everybody has to know their their limits. When you start creating and building, there's a limit to it. Apart from the budget limit, which is a number one limit for a lot of people, you should know when to take a step back, because sometimes less is much. To keep it simple is key. You don't need to overdo to prove a point. You can keep things very simple yet be so elegant. Um, when you get opportunities to go even extra, you want brides who are demanding extra things, there is a limit to it. You have to be able to see where to balance. For every event that we're doing, we we identify where to put a lot of focus. Okay, there are days when we go big on centerpieces. We do like the Nigerian style, plenty flowers, huge centerpieces, like lots of candles. You know, like the typical luxurious Nigerian style. And then everything else is simple. There are also times where you go big on the backdrop, and then you keep everything else simple. There are times when you put a lot of emphasis on the ceiling, minimal emphasis on the stage, and then you go very simple on the tables. There are times when you go halfway through on every aspect. So you have to know how to. It's about how you balance things according to your style. Sorry, so sorry about that. According to your style and preference. Now everybody has their own style. Everybody has how they want things to be done. Everybody has their taste, and it's important to know where your taste lies and how to do it. I have a friend, a colleague vendor in Ghana here, who is really good at what she does, but when it comes to florals, she likes very minimal flowers. She can go huge on chandeliers and building things and architecture and everything. But when it comes to florals, her taste is simplicity, and people know her for that. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is, you see, everybody is, when you look at in the event industry, everybody is doing things, everybody is just going, everybody's just like, a lot of people are who say they're running a business are running their business as a hobby. For some people, their strength or creative power does not really lie in the aesthetics, but it lies in the administrative work. Okay. Now for me, I say I am creative, but not as creative. I know there are lots of people who are more creative than me, but I try to use my strengths to take advantage. I try to leverage on my strength. Okay. Now I really like paperwork a lot. A lot. Like I like paperwork a lot. And I know for a lot of event people, a lot of event people always say they like paperwork, but zero. Everybody knows they have to put things on paper, but it's like everything is all up in my head. I do things. Now you easily run into debts, you easily end up overspending clients' budget, you easily end up losing track of what you've done, you easily end up losing records. Now, because I like paperwork and I've worked in the corporate field before, I adapted it in my space. Okay. So anytime a client makes an inquiry, we have a document that we put it on. As soon as the client confirms and signs the contract, we open an Excel sheet. Okay. Now we have on this Excel sheet, we have the total amount the client is paying, and then we put every possible item or thing we will spend on the sheet. Okay. Now we just keep keying in things, keying in things, keying in things. I was never doing this thing before, but the moment I started doing this, I started realizing how wrongly I was charging, how I was doing more than the client was paying for. You know, when as event people, I don't know, for event designers, I don't know how it is for other people. You see the budgets, let's say 50,000 USD is so huge. You feel like, oh, you know what, I can just use maybe about 30,000 for rentals, and I can use 20,000, I can use another 10,000 to pay my workers and have another 10,000 to spare. So you walk into a shop and then you don't think twice. You just start buying and placing orders and doing things as you please and living the fab life and changing your wardrobe. Then you sit down and you start working on the event and you realize that you don't even have enough. So this sheet helps us keep track of everything that we do. So if we have to go, we have to tip somebody, it goes on this Excel sheet. It lets us know whether we are running into the negatives or if we are on track with, or if we are making profit or loss. Now,
Along. Are we learning something? Do we find it very interesting? Because I for one, I'm learning some things and I've been taking notes down. I see this as a very, very good opportunity to also even, learn something. I mean, I've learned a couple of things tonight, and from Dustin, what Dustin has said so far, ooh, this is really, really fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, very interesting. Yes, too much value. Good, great. I'm happy you guys are hearing, you guys are taking this seriously. Um, yeah, being a creative doesn't come easy. Yes, it doesn't. And so you need to know when to stop. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. I see where I have been making mistakes. I'm glad you can see where you're making your mistakes and you're going to be correcting them as soon as possible. In fact, you need to go and start, you need to go back to the drawing board and look at where you're making mistakes. I'm learning a lot of new things. Thanks. Oh, thank you, Grace. I want to believe this is our speaker calling me right now. Um, oh, do we wait for Dustin or do we just go ahead? Oh my goodness. Um, Simplified steps. Yes, already on the drawing board. Bigamy. Yes, I can see. So, oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Oh wow. Wow. Great. Thank you, everybody who is sending me personal comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so while Dustin is not here, I'm supposed to reach out and find out what's going on.
also with my documentation things, sharing everything that we do with everything we are going to do, all the ideas that we're going to do with the rest of the team is something that also helps us a lot. So I think the network keeps interrupting. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We can hear you. I'm sure everybody. If you can, please just do
Okay.
thumbs up so we can know.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I can hear you too. Okay, so basically creativity is something that cannot be measured. It's something that cannot be compared. You cannot say somebody is creative than another person. You have to be able to identify what your strength is and leverage on it. You have to leverage on networks. And another important thing that a lot of people fail to realize is it's not just about quantity, it's about quality. Quality is key in everything that you do. It's not just about doing a lot of things, it's about producing original content. Now, there's this thing in Ghana where like this whole luxury wedding movement that everybody is following now. It's like the use of expensive furniture and items to produce events. And I mean, this includes the use of glass tables, chrome chairs, I mean, gold cutlery, um, uh, menu cards, ball prints, all of those menu cards and things on the table. Now I see people who are overspending and using their own money to make people's events better by using glass tables just to prove that they are doing a luxury event. Um, they are just trying to use expensive chandeliers and throwing drapery and flooring just for people to know that yeah, they've got a huge event and they have capacity to handle a huge event. But one thing that I've come to know is you don't need to be expensive to be luxurious. Okay. You don't need to use expensive items to be luxurious. However, you need to use high quality items to be at a particular point. The quality is not just about the pricing, it's the quality, the careful selection of items, the careful selection of elements when we are doing events, even thinking about what kind of chairs go nicely with which plates, for me is a big deal. Choosing the texture of the napkin I want to use is a big deal to me. Um, all of those things make the work finer. I mean, I can count the number of times we have used very expensive chairs. I don't even think I've used the most expensive rentable chair for an event before, or the most expensive table. No, I don't think we have. But we are sometimes able to use simple things to make people's events look over the top. We're able to use the non-expensive things, but we just make sure we're not going for cheap, non-quality things. Quality for me is priority. And the combination of elements is everything. It's like a whole framework of things that's come together to make the event happen. So in as much as you're trying to be creative and different, you also have to think about quality. You also have to think about consistency. I mean, there are some ideas which are great and different, but not necessarily. There's some ideas which are great and different, but not necessarily right. Um, Let me give you a typical example. I saw a setup where the person wanted to use again huge centerpieces and have a very floral table. And so the person wanted to create a very thick runner. You know a floral runner? I don't know if everybody knows a floral runner here. So a floral runner is arrangements that runs through the middle of a table, mostly a rectangular table. Okay, floral arrangements that run through the middle of a table. Now the person wanted to do an extra huge runner like never done before, but then the person's tables were so narrow that the flowers were like halfway in the plate. Now, the person was being creative, yes. The person was being different, yes. The person was going out of the box to create a very floral table experience, yes. But are the guests going to eat flowers from the plates? That was the question I was asking myself. So, in as much as you try to be different and try to hit a mark and try to be over the top and do things, you have to think about consistency and reality. Like, is this practical? Practicality is also very, very important. Okay, now, always know that you should have to keep upgrading and changing your sources of inspiration. You don't have to be at the same place all the time. It's totally okay to draw inspiration from two different places. Sometimes you have clients who put you in a tight corner and it's like they want you to do something in particular. They want you to do something very particular. It can be very challenging sometimes. I remember there was one bride who came up to me and she had a whole document of what exactly she wanted. She had written it down how she wants the napkins to be folded, how she wants the menu card to be placed on the table, the number of flowers per table, per arrangement. She had all of those details there. Now,
As if
in
I
our
don't
initial
know.
consult,
I can get to
sorry,
share, sure. I can get to share.
okay, from initial consultation, we didn't gel so well because I
I
mean,
can get it. Yeah, of course.
I
Why
felt
not?
sorry. I think someone's call is not on mute. So in our initial consultation, we didn't gel well at all. We had a lot of back and forth, and I nearly told her I didn't have capacity to handle the event simply because I felt simply because she I felt she was limiting my creativity. But then I I had I took a day and I decided to call her to tell her I couldn't handle her events because we had spoken extensively. So on this day, she called me first in the morning and asked to have a meeting. And we went for the meeting, and I went with the intention of telling her I couldn't handle her event anymore. Guess what? I don't know if she sprayed some charm on my face or whatnot. We gelled so well, and I was so excited by the fact that she pushed me to be extra creative and we're able to produce a really interesting and very dynamic event. It's one of the events that I go back and look at from time to time. So sometimes it pays to be flexible, it pays to be open to ideas, it pays to listen to your clients at times, it pays to be, you may probably have your standards and your way of doing things, but then you also have to be able to be flexible from time to time. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, I'm going to summarize now. Creativity is fluid. Creativity has no limits. Creativity has no limits, but you have to know when to stop. Creativity is all around you. Inspiration is all around you for Inspiration is all around you for everybody to see and experience. Identify what you like, identify your style, identify where your strengths are, and leverage on that to make every event and identify your strengths, identify what your strengths are, and leverage on that to make every event of yours special and unique. Thank you so much, Frida. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to share. And unfortunately, due to the situation now, I've not been able to share my very best of experiences with you as I planned on due to how things went. However, if anyone would like to have a conversation personally or have any questions you'd like to, you're not comfortable sharing here, you want to have a one-on-one consultation to discuss anything, please feel free to do so. My email address is dustinevents@gmail.com. You can also reach me via Instagram DM, although I'm quicker to respond via email. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you so much. This means so much to me. I'm glad that, okay, some persons are saying they're going to send you a DM real soon. Um, if you want to reach out to Dustin, and maybe you didn't get it clearly, you can just reach out to me and I will forward you his email address. I know Dustin is very quick to respond to emails because he did not waste time in responding to mine. So, do you guys have questions or you have something you want to tell him? Nice comments you want to say to Dustin for sharing so much value to us and for blessing us with his experience tonight. And even despite the stress and the whole. Okay, I'm gonna share his Instagram handle. His Instagram handle is Dustin Events at Dustin Events.
Yes, I'm
Dustin
typing in
Events. Yeah. So oh, I
Dustinevents.
sent it to you directly. Oh my goodness, don't mind me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's yeah. So he has done it. So you guys can just follow him on Instagram, tag him. If you have screenshots of this, make a screenshot. Um, go on his page and comment. If you go on his page, you see a lot of creative work that Dustin has put together. You see a lot. If you follow him on his stories, you will see the behind the scenes that he does a lot. Okay, I personally appreciate the Excel tip. I write mine on paper, but I think it's more safer to go the Excel way. Yay, that's one feedback. Even I think I should, take a screenshot of that. So I would also have it for future purpose, you know. Um, oh my goodness. Now is not the time for my phone to be updating. Um, okay, great. Thank you so much, Dustin.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Frida.
Okay, so anybody has questions um, that you would like to ask Dustin? So before he rushes off um, to complete his project, or you want to say thank you after the power pack value that he has given to us? I have a question on behalf of some people. Okay, great, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Dustin. Okay.
Okay, so
Question,
we're
please.
waiting for the question.
Waiting.
Okay, I'm sure she's typing it out now.
Yeah. So any other person will wait for the question. How do you deal with clients who want premium but don't want to pay? Okay, so Dustin, this one is for
No?
you.
Okay, so with me, basically, what you pay for is what you get, and we try as much as possible to let them know exactly what they are going to get. You cannot pay for A and B. Oh, I see somebody has sent me a message already. That's nice. You cannot pay for A and B and expect to get C and D as well. So it's very important to communicate what exactly they are going to get to them and make it clear to them. We always let them know ahead of time. You know, it's difficult. You have people, for instance, you have um, I had a client who got in touch and they wanted something heavy on earth, but their budget wasn't that. We had to make it clear to them and address them that, you know what, this is what your budget can afford. It's beautiful. It's not that it's ugly. It is beautiful. You can get something done, but this is, if you want your dream, this is how much it's going to cost you. Unfortunately, we have a lot of vendors who end up um, trying to be flexible to an extent to tone down their costs to give people premium service or some premium things that they want. But you see, you don't always make money from making someone's events better. All they just say is thank you and they walk away. You end up going home with debt. Okay, so it's okay sometimes to say no it's okay to sometimes say no to a particular client. It's okay to sometimes say no to a job just because you don't want to find yourself in debt. Because at the end of the day, your subcontractors will all come and be chasing you. So we try as much as possible to let them know what they are paying for. We let them know that you are paying for A, B, C, and D. If you want these extra things, this is the bill. We cannot produce them for you if they are not being paid for. Does that answer your question, please?
Has Dustin answered your question? I actually feel you have answered the question. Okay, so there's another one. There's another one.
Mhm.
Um, how do you? Oh wow. How do you communicate your vision with clients who emphasize on hiring their event stylist, who we know will not deliver or doesn't have the right attitude to work, e.g., delaying delivery, not attending to vendors' meetings, and more?
So is this from a planner's point of view?
Yes, this is a wedding planner's point of view.
Okay, so in the in some instances where we plan people's weddings, we've had situations like that. It's rather unfortunate, but you see, it's ideal and right to let the clients know that the vendor probably has got some kind of history. At the same time, I mean, we are all vendors, and it's not too nice to sometimes, step on each other. There are really nice ways by going about it. Okay. I mean, when clients come up, I've had a situation before where the client wanted to use a particular vendor who had been known for multiple no shows. So to handle the situation, as soon as the person told me their interest in working with a particular vendor, I gave them an option, a better option to the vendor without saying anything negative about the other person. Okay. If it gets to the very intense situation and the client is still insisting, you can let the client know some reviews that you've heard. You see, it's very painful and difficult, and some clients end up may go going to misquote you and add, frying pan to fire and start adding questions. You always have to be very particular about your choice of words when addressing such situations. Try and give them options to choose from other options and other competitive vendors who they will probably like. If it's getting to an intense situation, let them know the reviews that you have heard from people. However, it does not also mean that these reviews judge the person. For there have been cases where some people's some mishaps that you've heard from some people had particular reasons behind. Clients always change stories and go and say other things. So it helps and pays to hear the other side of the story all the time. It always pays to hear the other side of the story. So you have to handle such situations delicately. Any other question, please?
Is there any other person who has questions? Oh, thank you so much. Okay, great, great. Wow, Dustin, this is really amazing. Thank you so much, my Ghanaian best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know my Nigerian bestie. as soon
Oh
as
my
as soon
goodness.
as things tone down a bit and all the pressure is down, I'll pay a visit and then we can
Please
connect
do.
properly.
Please
Yes.
do. I can't wait to take you around and
I know,
show
I know.
you.
Have you been to Ghana before?
No, I haven't. So I'm waiting for a good opportunity to come over and then you show me around too.
Fantastic. I've not been to Nigeria before either.
So both of us were in this together. Great,
All
great.
right.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Thank you so much, Dustin. This is guys, it's Dustin, Dustin. So you don't go and get the handle
You
wrong.
know,
So follow him
I
on
think
Instagram.
I think it's a Nigerian thing because honestly, every Nigerian I've met calls me Austin before Dustin.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is a rare opportunity. I'm so happy. We're happy that you guys. Oh, you've been to Ghana 3 times. Okay, no problem. Be ready. You are going to be our tour guide. Great, great. Okay, so
Fantastic.
we also have vendors that are from Ghana here, also at the
Okay.
hub. Yeah, so I'm sure they are already forming a family bond here.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Great to hear.
Thank you so much, Dustin. This really means a lot to us.
Same
The
here.
CFEA Summit team, we appreciate you. We look forward to working with you future and all of that. And I think all members of the hub, I'm speaking on behalf of everyone right now, and they're saying thank you so much. We love you, and it's from the bottom of our
Thank
heart.
you. Bye.